I'm Maxwell Garcia, and I am no longer vegan, vegetarian, or strictly on a plant-based diet. I have chicken breast in the freezer, Walmart brand, but I also have tofu. But I'm still maintaining my old habits. I'm just adding new food items to my selection. I was vegan for around 10 months in 2021. It was mainly for my cross-country season. My coach went vegan. He was hyping up veganism. And I was like, let me try it. I want to get to my 1859 goal. I broke it, hit 1833, so I did all I wanted to do with my running time that season. I lost 35 pounds. I was like a thin stick, the healthiest I've ever been in my life. And part of that is definitely the veganism. I was going very hard with my running training, but without veganism, I don't know if I would have gotten as good as I did. And what's funny is that basically in the last 2 months, I ended being vegetarian because after about the 10 months of being vegan in 2021, starting in 2022, I was vegetarian, but I still wouldn't consume any like Greek yogurt or directly butter. I would use vegan butter still. I would never consume eggs. So me ending this now, I had eggs for the first time after 3 years, and I'm sorry, I do love eggs. They do taste good, boiled, scrambled, and omelet with mushrooms. However you make eggs, I do like eggs, and pretty decent for the protein. But the egg prices recently, woo, 70% year-over-year inflation. Talk about that. But getting back to the point, as I'm transitioning away from the plant-based diet and more to like the omnivore, just consuming basically everything, I'm not really going to consume red meat. I might have a fancy steak here and then, but I'm definitely never going to buy steak to put in my fridge or freezer. I'm just going to stay away from red meat, focus on the lean proteins, seafood, chicken, things like that. But as I'm transitioning away from veganism, my brother is transitioning into it because he's heading into his senior cross-country season, and he's going to try and do what I did and try and break the 1833 goal. I hope he does. I would love to see it. I do want to talk about some vegan stereotypes that just aren't true. But yeah, over the 3 years of being like vegan / vegetarian, there was some annoyances here and there that like slowly start to build up over time. But there's really one main catalyst why I'm switching away from my strict vegan diet, and that's because protein. I've been going to the gym for like 7 months now. Here's like a little Apple Notes of all the weights I've done. I'm now doing 145 on bench for 4 reps of, 4 sets of 8 reps. Oh my gosh, I did not learn this because I did not do any like research at all. Someone gave me their workout like routine and I just accepted it blindly. And I didn't know you should actually like increase your protein intake like a lot. Like I've always heard like, oh, the frat guy, protein, oh, you're just consuming protein, oh. But I see why, because you're supposed to consume like 80 to 100% of your body weight in grams of protein. So that means I have to consume around 150 grams of protein per day. And with the vegan diet, it's possible to eat protein. This is like one stereotype that I'm breaking down right here. Oh, there's not enough protein in a vegan diet. No, there's plenty of protein sources. In just 1 can of black beans, there's like 25 grams of protein. Same with like garbanzo. So if you have like a rice bean and garbanzo meal, that's like 50 grams of protein there. You could put some peanuts and nuts on the side. That's an extra like 10 to 20 grams. So you're already at 70 grams for one meal. There's plant-based yogurts out there. I'm sure there's vegan protein granola, vegan protein bars. So you can definitely consume protein while being vegan. It's just a little bit more difficult. And I work at Chipotle, so eating chicken there is super easy. I could just scarf it down like every hour if I want to because I'm a grow person. So the main reason I switched away from veganism is to consume more protein and to actually take the gym a little bit more seriously. I still feel like a newbie. I'm getting like corrected on like certain workout positions I'm doing, and I'll take all the help I could get because I really know nothing with the gym. And I went vegan because I really wanted to get more into fruits and veggies to the point where I'm now craving like a watermelon slice or some zucchini if I haven't had fruits or veggies for a couple of days, like I actually start to like get those cravings, like just need to get my hand on a veggie. But yes, I did veganism to be more healthy, to discover new foods. Like chickpeas are now one of my favorite foods of all time. I also love tofu. Before I went vegan, I never tried those two individual foods ever. And I have to say, veganism does force you to be healthier, because are you really going to have vegan Oreos all the time? You could, and you could just discover all the unhealthy vegan snacks, but at the end of the day, you're going to go to your vegetables, fruits, and a lot of grains, because you could have a bunch of pasta, bread, rice, all of that in the vegan diet. It's all open to you. And the eating healthy isn't the only reason why people go vegan. People also go vegan because they think it's not morally ethical to eat meat. Yes, as a hunter-gatherers, like thousands and thousands of years ago, I'm sure we were consuming meat. We would kill like a deer and make a little fire and cook the meat, throw some salt on it, and then eat it. So humans have been eating meat, but we've also been eating like grains and berries. So we've had a pretty balanced diet as a species. So I don't think it's not morally ethical to eat meat. So I think it's okay. I think society accepts that. But there's another thing to know, and this is also why I kind of went vegan. I was considering this angle of it. It's that if you're vegan, you actually consume less greenhouse emissions with your diet compared to like a diet that involves meat, because there's a ton of energy losses in between the food and then what the cattle has to eat and then you eating it. So there's energy losses in between each transfer, because our body produces heat, and sometimes our bodies aren't 100% efficient. Sadly, they're not. So at every heat loss, you know, there's more greenhouse emissions higher up in the chain if you're consuming meat. That is just a biological fact. But I acknowledge I am one person, and one person isn't going to change the world or the whole trajectory of greenhouse emissions. And honestly, probably the most efficient way to change the world is with engineering, and engineering is solving amazing problems. And my diet still, probably for the rest of my life, will be mostly vegan, because I actually just love the habits I built with it. I love the amount of fruits and veggies I'm consuming per week, and I'm frankly addicted to healthy food now. So yes, I do care about animals. I actually have a friend who goes hunting. I would never personally want to shoot an animal and then eat it directly. I don't think like morally I could do that personally. I couldn't bring myself to do that, to just like laser down a shot and then eat it like 48 hours later at a meal. That doesn't really sit right with me. But if other people want to do it, I'm all for freedom of choice, so go ahead. But it's not really something I'm ever going to be into, even though, and oh my gosh, an orca was saved from the Miami Aquarium. Another myth I want to break is that you need B12. Okay, you probably might need B12 supplemented into your diet if you're vegan. I took B12 supplements for a couple months, and then I stopped taking them, and I didn't feel any effect at all. Maybe when I'm like 85 years old, I'll be like, oh, Max, you should have taken those B12 vitamins when you were vegan and vegetarian for those 3 years. Maybe I'll act like that, but to me, B12 was a non-factor. And I have to address this. Vegan food can taste amazing. There's this amazing vegan restaurant in Tallahassee called The Bark, and I love the food there. And I've heard so many things from other people that where they like aren't even giving vegan food a chance, when vegan food can simply be better than any meat-filled alternatives. Sure, like the options for flavor are slightly limited compared to if you were just open to everything, but you could still make delicious cuisines from veganism. And I just kind of don't agree with anyone who says that, oh, vegan food tastes bad, because you could find unhealthy vegan food like vegan ice cream, or like the slutty vegan in Atlanta. I want to go try that one day. Or you could just find delicious umami flavored savory vegan food, and I've had that before. So just because the food might look like Kit Kat sometimes, the vegan food can still be amazing. And a couple of vegan products that I was so reliant on when I was vegan. Yes, I love the Impossible Beyond Meat burgers. To me, both of those are interchangeable. They taste the same to me. I love these Aldi's meatballs. I've been hooked on them this year. They're so delicious. And I think every single month I've been vegan or vegetarian. You could find these in my freezer. And I still have them there because they're like not too expensive and they taste amazing. It's these plant-based Morning Star, which is owned by Kellogg, buffalo nuggets, or even the regular flavor. Oh my gosh, those nuggets, cheaper than McDonald's nuggets, are the bomb. And looking at things like, oh, Chipotle is investing in Meatly, plant-based meat alternatives, and they rolled out the plant-based chorizo for a super quick time because it wasn't really selling too well. It was only here for like a month, and usually limited time items are supposed to last for 3 to 4 months, so you could tell how bad sales were for that item. The veganism is a recent trend. We do need more data on this. We need more long-term, longitudinal like case studies over lifetimes of like a vegan diet versus non-vegan. And yes, Joe Rogan, veganism can be beneficial to athletes. We have Tom Brady, who made it to 45 years old. He wasn't really on a vegan diet, but he was kind of morphing into that, or like very, very close to it. But yes, there is not enough evidence for you to just say, oh yeah, plant-based diet, yeah, you're gonna be weaker, you can't like muscle build, you can't be like a top tier athlete. I'm sure if you have like your own private chef and you could buy any grocery you want, fruits and veggies and grains could get you a long, long way. But we do need more data. I agree with that. And before I get to a touchy subject, I want to break down another stereotype. Veganism is not more expensive than a meat-based diet. If anything, it could be cheaper because you could go ham just with ramen, rice and beans, and potatoes, and that could be your vegan diet, and you spend like $20 on groceries per week. So the myth of, oh, veganism is more expensive. It is a tad more expensive to be healthy, to eat a bunch of like fruits and vegetables. For example, I love mango slices, and mango slices at Aldi's is $4 per container. That is on the expensive side, but you could also be super cheap. Get 3 bell peppers for like $1.50. Get bananas, get carrots. Not everything is cheap, but a lot of it is. And the touchy subject is that whenever I was around food with other people, like not myself, I'm chilling, but with other people, whether that be like some family or friends or strangers, and I say I'm like vegan or vegetarian, I feel like the spotlight was like all on me, and like I had to explain my story and say why I'm vegan, and it's like kind of like this whole like political thing I have to explain. That's why I kind of felt like it, because I could always just eat sides at any restaurant or any family gathering. If you're vegan, you learn how to manage. And I get it, people want to be considerate of your needs and what you need as a human being to be like happy. But sometimes I felt like there was just too much friction in between me being vegan and what other people wanted to do. Like, just do what you're gonna do and I'll follow you, and I'll try and work myself around you. But oh my gosh, if you're vegan, the American breakfast is your worst nightmare. Roll John Harris.
And I learned that, in fact, this version of breakfast is a very narrow, very American version of breakfast.
If you go to any diner, any restaurant place, IHOP, Cracker Barrel, Denny's, and First Watch has pretty good vegan options. They have avocado toast. But any typical American diner, like Waffle House, if I didn't mention that, if you want to be vegan, there's literally like no dish you could really get. Like, you get hash browns, pancakes contains milk, you can't have that. Eggs, can't have that either. French toast, you can't. Bacon, of course not. Sausage, you can't. Ham. So the American breakfast and veganism clash hard. There, I do say you can't really have sides. You can, but it's a miserable meal if you're a vegan trying to eat American breakfast. But since I'm no longer vegan, I feel like that vegan burden I place onto other people and people like worrying about me is like lifted. Like, I'm more free. I'm Luffy in Gear 5th. Ha ha ha! Honestly, if anyone's struggling with their diet, my first recommendation to them will be go vegan. Try it. Try it for a couple months. See how it shapes your diet. You will be healthier at the end of it. I bet on it. So I'm gonna go enjoy my Chick-fil-A sandwiches and my pub subs and my McDonald's fries and my McDonald's McFlurries and cheat a little bit in life because you only live once, so why constrict yourself to certain standards when you could just be healthy most of the time and not be vegan? The last generations of Hispanics sort of give you a side eye whenever you first say you're vegan, and that's like the first time meeting you, they're like, what? People exist like that? Pero yo sé, yo solo quiero comer vegetales, no como carne.